In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact campaign structure I use for one of our construction clients who is running meta ads, spending less than £1,000 a month on the platform. And it'll actually show you the exact campaign that helped halve the cost per lead that they were getting with the previous agency. So I think you'll find it really useful for your business, and it's one that you can take away, and if you wanted to, you can copy and paste it, and it's a really good beginner structure if you want to dabble in some ads yourself.
So first thing you need to do is head over to the Facebook app, just type it in on Google, log in, and what you need to go and do next is you need to make your way over to Facebook Ads Manager. Now, a caveat to this tutorial is you need to have Ads Manager set up. If you don't worry, let me know in the comments, and I can do a video on Facebook Ads Manager and the setup. But for this video, you need that set up. So what you want to do is you want to open the page. You might be greeted to a page like this. Sometimes everyone's different, but you need to make your way over here. On mine, it's where these other items are, Meta AI, Friends, etc. You click See More, hit that drop down, and there's Ads Manager. Now, you can get to this other ways. You can Google Ads Manager, Facebook, login, that'll bring it up to you, or you can search in the search bar the URL adsmanager.facebook.com/ads manager, that'll do it as well. I'll also leave a link in the description box below for Ads Manager, so you can just go and find it quickly too. So what I'll do is I'll click this button, and there we are, it's took us into Ads Manager. Now you just need to navigate to your business account. You may have a few business accounts, you may have one, don't worry about it. Up here where it says campaigns, click this drop down box and you'll have a plethora of options like I do, or you'll just have one or two. So the one I'm going to do is an actual client's ad account here where I'm going to show you this demo. So you click that, click this button here, and it takes you directly into their Ads Manager account. So now that we're in the Campaign Manager, what you'll be able to see in here is all your campaigns that you've ran or a previous agency you've ran. So for instance, here are some of ours, the top two. That's my agency, WA5 Marketing, and here's the old agency. And it shows you all the results and things here of the campaigns. And as you can see, old agency was getting about £49 per lead. We were getting between £18 and £23, so we managed to halve it with our new campaign structure. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do today. So what we need to do next is actually create a campaign. So all we have to do here is go to this little green button here that says create, and then it opens up this buying type. With buying type, always keep it as auction. The other one's not relevant to us, and you'll get a plethora of options here: awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, and sales. Now with this, awareness, sometimes people just want to get some brand awareness, or people just want to drive traffic to their site. All these objectives have their merits. However, and my suggestion to every single one of my clients is, we want leads, right? We want people to come to our business that want to spend money with us. So what we need to do is we need to select leads, because we want our campaign to optimize specifically for leads in our business, particularly in the construction section where it's a bit more of a considered purchase. When the service value is more valuable, then that's exactly what you want to do. If you had an e-commerce brand, say, then you go to the sales tab and you'd optimize for sales. But in our case, for service-based construction businesses, we want to optimize for leads, and that's exactly what we want to tell Facebook to do too. If you select something like traffic, the quality of leads and people that come to your site won't be as good, and it just won't be worth your time or money. So click leads, then go and click continue. And now you're into the campaign settings area. So you've got a whole host of things here, but first things first, let's choose a campaign name. So for example, I would call it something easy to remember, and exactly what we're doing here is WA5. We're targeting a cold audience, and we're starting it in July 2025, and we're running a nice little 25% off windows and doors. So name your campaign something like that, something that you can go back to and check and compare campaigns between months. And that's a good starting point. So next, we want to go down a little bit more. You can open these all up to see what we've got, but buying type already boxed off, auction, campaign objective boxed off, leads. So we want to look down here for this budget strategy. And with Facebook now, it's driving people more and more towards, the more automated, AI-driven, algorithmic, strategy for the platform. So you want to set this as campaign budget. And what campaign budget will do is it will automatically distribute your budget to the ads that you run, the ones that are doing the best. So the ad that performs the best will get the most money. That doesn't mean to say that all of them don't get money, but the one that does the best gets the most budget, and it's driven by Facebook's AI. So 100% recommend that, because if not, you'll be stressing all the time if you're doing it right, if you do it wrong. What Facebook's trying to do now for everyone with the amount of data that it's got is just let the system do its work. So set that to campaign budget, and then you want to set a daily budget. So in this case, the client was spending around, to start with, about £500 a month, which is about £15 a day. So you can just type that in here. And what this will do is it'll set the budget, and it will not spend more than £15 every single day, which is great. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to keep checking it. It's set for £15 and it'll cut off at the end of the day. So really good level budget, £500 to get started with, and see what kind of results you can get with that kind of cash. So, campaign bid strategy, leave the same. Budget schedule, don't need to bother. A/B test, no. Special ad categories doesn't really apply to construction. This applies to spaces like finance, where there's a load of regulation and things like that. But you in the construction space do not need to touch this. So that's all set up now. All you need to do is hit next in the bottom right, and we can move on to ad set level. So now we're at the ad set level, and this is where we decide whether they go to our website, whether we go within the platform to a lead form, and this is where we decide that kind of stuff. And there's some targeting options here, but I'm going to chat to you about targeting a little bit in a little moment. But first, let's name the ad set. So in my head, I think what we're going to do for this is we're going to call it WA5 again, so I can identify that it's us. And I think because the business is based in Stoke-on-Trent, it's a physical business. It's just a guy with a van, and he can only operate within a certain radius, which is the Stoke-on-Trent kind of Cheshire area, which we can set within this section of meta advertising. So it'd be WA5, Cheshire and Stoke. He said to us that he's willing to travel up to 15 to 30 miles, so it'd be like 30 mile plus, and then we're off from there, right? We know exactly what we're doing, exactly what we're targeting, and in this case, it is going to be broad targeting, but I will explain that in a little moment. So next things next, you've got your name for your ad set, then you're going to scroll down here, which is conversion location. What that means is when someone clicks your ad, where do they go? Pretty straightforward. So, you've got a load of options here where you can send them. My recommendation to you is start with instant forms. What an instant form is, it's a form that you can build out within Facebook. So they'll click your ad, they'll go straight to the form. And what's good about this is it doesn't take them off the platform. That's a big level of friction, right? So recommendation is to do this first, because if you can't get results with an instant form, you'll struggle getting results sending them to your website. Do this first, then do the website later, because there's a lot more moving parts with the website. You need to make sure your web pages are set up to funnel your audience, your people that are clicking your ads through, essentially, and that's a lot more difficult to do at first. It's also a lot more difficult to track too, so you just need to bear that in mind. So next, you want to select your Facebook page that the account's associated with. Here you see my WA5 Marketing profile, but in this case it's the client, and for some reason the way that the previous people set it up, it comes up in personal, and here it is. Here's the business account called Energy Windows and Home Improvement. So bang, click that, and that should add the right Facebook page to it. You can also add an Instagram page. In this case, he didn't have one, so we didn't need to do that. And here we need to select the performance goal. And you've actually got a couple of options here. You've got maximize number of leads and maximize number of conversion leads. Now there's a slight difference. The top one will just give you maximum amount of leads. The bottom one will give you more people likely to go ahead and convert with your business in what you're trying to sell. Initially, I'd suggest the first campaign you do maximize number of leads, because Facebook needs enough data to be able to process things and find your perfect customer. You can always change this later, because you can duplicate the campaign and you can change it to maximize number of conversion leads. But for first things first, start with this one. Really easy to do, brings in a lot of people, brings in a lot of data, and it allows Facebook to optimize your account quicker. Cost per result goal, sometimes when you run an ad, you can set this. If you've got a target cost per lead in mind, you could set that to like £20, and Facebook will try its best to optimize for it. But if you're starting out, or someone else has run it in the first instance, don't do that. Track them, monitor the ads, and have a goal in mind in your head, but don't put any unnecessary restraints on Facebook, because it needs to just be able to do its thing and find your ideal customers through its algorithm. Okay, so next we've got dynamic creative. Usually turn this off because I usually make all the creatives, but sometimes it can be useful, as it'll add music or moving elements to your creative. Can be useful, can not be useful, but I found when we control it, when we use our creative minds, that it works better with that off. So budget schedule, completely ignore it. You don't need it. We've not got any ad set spending limits, because we've set the budget at campaign level, so it will not spend more than £15 a day. And like I said, we've got Advantage Plus on, and that's just Facebook's system where it allocates the budget wherever it sees fit and whatever it sees the results from. So no need to do that. Audience now, I still see it in so many ad accounts. So many people are still doing interest or audience-based targeting. Don't put anything in here. Leave it all blank. The only thing that I would do is obviously set your location and set your radius. I know this is quite specific if you're a construction-based business, because if you don't have physical locations either all over the UK or all over the world, you're limited to a radius, right? So you have to set that. And sometimes that's quite good, because you avoid the big national advertisers, and it means you only have to be the best within your current radius, which really, to be honest, if you have a look, it isn't that hard to do. So what I would do here is I would just use audience, controls, I'd go straight to this locations panel. And in this case, what we're doing is Cheshire, right? So I'd go Cheshire. Here we go, Cheshire. You might have to put you might have to put Cheshire, United Kingdom in. Click enter. So they're split into kind of like weird counties sometimes, but Cheshire East seems to be the county on here, so that's what we'd go with. And we'd also put Stoke, England. There we go. Stoke-on-Trent. Let's try that. There we go, Stoke-on-Trent. So I'm going to optimize for the city. So you can optimize counties, cities, and at least with the cities you can operate within up to a 50-mile radius. The guy was happy with 30, so we can just change this on here to 30. And that will set your location to where you want it to be. So now just looking at the rest of it, so custom audiences, we don't really want to do this. It's the detailed targeting. When it comes to targeting on here, you might have been told, oh, you need to target these interests, that interest, these demographics, but because Facebook's got so smart now, you just do not need to do it. The way you target people is through your ads. So you need to have your ads specifically call out the people that you know want your service. So that might be homeowners, that might be parent owning homeowners, that might be business people, that might be C-suite, doctors, nurses, whatever it is, wherever, you make the most money from your construction service, you need to call them out specifically and clearly in your ads, and Facebook will simply do the rest. There's not that many levers you can pull anymore in the back end. All you need to do is make sure that your offer's right, and you dial in on your creative and target your audience through your videos, your images, your carousels, whatever it may be, whatever images or videos that you use, you have to target through that now. Okay, so placements. This will show you where you can place your ads on the platform. My suggestion: Facebook, Instagram, as usual. They'll do both, and it'll optimize which platform's better for you. You don't have to do anything. So that's great. All this is usually set up for you. And in my case, yes, this is actually how it is on the default settings. That's fine. All you have to do now is hit next and you're done with the ad set level. Now we're on to the ad level, and with this level of budget, £1,000 or less, I would recommend maximum 3 ads on here, testing, a couple of different variants, have one offer, maybe, different backgrounds, different hooks on your ad. Only 3 because your budget will be spread too thin. So that could be different images, that could be a video ad, that could be a carousel ad, things like that. So first things first, what you want to do is you want to name your ad. Usually I do ad 1. Is it an image 1? Name it something that makes sense, essentially. And, sometimes I test different message. So it could be message 1, for example. Or it could be offer 1. So name it something that makes sense. Identity, yes, we want the Facebook and Instagram, but in this case it's using the Facebook because you didn't have an Instagram account. And what we want to do now is we just simply want to create some ads, right? So is it an image or a video? Click the one. Is it a carousel? A carousel is just one where you could slide and flip through. So in this case we're going to do a single image or video. And destination is we want to send it, in this case, to an instant form, right? So that's where we've seen the best results of this account. So here you can see we've already made a couple of forms, and I'll show you exactly what they look like in a second. Here's the form just a little bit further down. So the form looks something like this, and you just put in the questions that you want, project type, how long you've been thinking about it. You can get some nice images of your business up here with all why they should choose you, which is great. In this case, it was great, 20% off, free quote, and 10-year warranty on this window, so it was really good. And that's exactly what you can do with the instant form. So a little bit easier than the website, and that's, you can select that here. But if you want me to go through actually creating an instant form, let me know, I'll make another video on it. Quality filters, this is something new that Meta's just added, which is actually quite good. It will deter some people though, because it requires them to put the phone number in to get an SMS, a text message, for them to verify, they're actually a real person interested in your services before they submit. Yes, your lead quality will get better, but you'll get less leads. And sometimes that I've found just ringing the leads is better, because that's also part of our service. So I know that when we ring them, some people don't want to fill in their SMS. They want it easy as possible. So for a starting point, leave that blank. If you're finding all the lead quality is not as good as you want it to be, then you can implement that a little bit later. You can do a variety of things. Get a chat with leads from your instant form. Wouldn't recommend that at the starting point. I'd just try and download the spreadsheet, or if you've got a CRM system that holds it all, like we have our own CRM system that we give to our clients, it all gets tracked in there automatically. So next, we want to set up some creative now. So creative just means video, images. So we'll just click this image ad here, and I'll show you one for example. So as you can see, once you hit set up ad and you go to the creative section, it takes you to this media uploads area where it'll keep everything that you upload for your ads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of these. I'm just going to open it up. because there's so many in here because we're doing so much creative testing. So, and we'll just use these two for example. So you need to be careful. There's two types of sizing that you need, one for Instagram, one for Facebook, one for Reels basically on Facebook and Instagram, which is a little bit different sizing. But this one, 1080 by 1080, and here's exactly where you can tell, you can write the copy of your ad and things like that. You've got up to 5 options, so I won't bore you to death and write some copy now, but you know, you can write up to 5 and test 5 options. I always fill them all out, particularly when you start a new campaign. You want to test as much as possible, see what's working, and you can see in the results in the campaign section of which text variants are working the best. So you can put that in there. You know, you can write your headline, that'll be the main bold text on your ad. You can add the description. I don't tend to do this because no one really sees it. And you can select whatever call to action that you want. Sometimes it's get quote, sometimes it's book a call now. You know, there's a number of options of whatever you need to do. Then I click next. As you can see, it can give you a hell of a lot of variations. You know, the AI on this now is getting better and better. You know, the options are endless, right? So it's easier than ever to actually make an ad on the platform. So, you know, I'd skip that and continue with the ones that you've got unless you really want to use it. And then this will take you to some enhancements, but generally speaking, don't use them, so I'd click done. So now you've done that, you'll get placed on this screen, but you need to go back and click edit because you need to get the other size image for the Facebook and Instagram Reels. Really, really important. The size matters. It will affect your results massively if it's not sized correctly for the type of image or video or platform that you're on. So you click edit, you go to crop. You know, you can see that this 9:16 one, it looks daft as it is with this grey box. So you just need to go replace. So you just select that, hit back, and it should change for you, right? Great there. In an ideal world, these horizontal ones, you'd make a horizontal one as well, but to be honest, these two are the main ones for Facebook and Instagram. So now you can just click next. So after that, you've sorted that out, you can exit this and you can continue finishing off your ads. So like I said, you can write short headline, description, primary text, that's just the copy that you see with the ad. You can type 5 options, definitely do it. And then after that, there's not much more, to be honest. You don't need these URL parameters because you send them to the lead form, not a website, and you don't need to track them like that. And that's it. And next, all you'd have to do is go to these 3 dots, duplicate the ad, you know, make 2 copies because we're going to test 3, duplicate them, and there you go. You can just go in now to there now. All your headlines will be the same, all your copy will be the same. The only thing you'll need to do is you'll need to go back and change the ad for something different. So you'd have to go back here, carousel, single image, and you just need to change it out through that Meta's creative library. Really straightforward, really simple. After that, what you do is when it's all up and good and it's ready to go, you'd simply hit publish. Meta would verify the changes, they would process the changes, and they tell you if it's approved or not. Sometimes they don't approve them, but in the construction space, don't get that too often. Obviously, you've got to follow the rules and regs. You can't be posting any explicit content or anything like that. Just keep it, usually with construction, good before and after does the trick. So that's it. That's it for the demo. Another important thing would be, you know, make sure on your website you've got the Facebook pixel set up. That just tracks people moving between Facebook and your website as well, because what we found with these ads is, yes, we ran ads to a lead form for this client, but what was happening was, and it was no coincidence, that the website suddenly woke up as soon as we started, you know, running ads. So that will happen. If you've got a website, they will come to your website and they will inquire. This guy's website was dead, and it then all of a sudden became alive. So, you know, that's something to bear in mind. And yeah, like I said, you can copy and paste the structure, really, really simple. for construction businesses that are spending less than £1,000 on Meta?
So just a quick summary there then. So it's one campaign, it's one ad set, broad targeting, target through your creative, make sure you dial in on your creative and speak to your audience. You don't need anything complicated, you don't need to target interests or demographics or anything like that. Do it through your creative. And then 3 ads, test 3 ads, don't do too many variables at once. You know, image, video, carousel, 2 images, 1 video. 60% of the time video performs better, so if you can get that, that's great. And test 1 offer. Offer and creative are the most important thing to get results. And finally, you know, like I said, this is a real life client ad account that we took over. We put in this really basic structure because he was spending £500, which is not a lot of money in these day and age for Meta ads, but as you could see in the client ad account, we actually managed to halve the cost per lead from £49 to 23, and in another campaign, £18. So if it is the case that you're looking for help or anything like that, my agency, WA5 Marketing, specialise in lead generation for small to medium sized businesses in the construction space, and we can definitely give you some pointers or a helping hand if that's what you need. So nice one for watching, and I will see you in the next one.